What's going on? It's the RapNerd, and it is officially summer, and I feel like this is a great time to bring this subject matter up. And ironically, I'm working on a summer camp horror screenplay, and as I'm writing this, I'm thinking about my different influences and grabbing from places where there are movies that I don't think a lot of people either know about or ones that I find to be underrated. And because this is linking up with this season, I figured I'd give y'all some of those. So today I'm going to talk about some underrated summer camp horror films to really get you in the mood for the summer season. Because whenever summer hits, these are a bunch of movies that I like to watch. And of course, there are classics out there, but I'm going to present the ones that aren't really household names like that, because I know people are looking for movies like that. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into this list. So I'm going to go in ascending order, starting from the oldest movies and make our way forward. So for the first film I have is Sleepaway Camp 2. Now, a lot of people talk about the first film in this franchise, and yes, it's a full-blown franchise because there are 4 or 5 of these films, but that's the most infamous one because of how crazy it is. You know, the one with that iconic, legendary ending shot with Angie with the face like on a man's body, which is still insane, right? But I don't hear people talk about the other films. And the second one is probably my favorite in the franchise because the first one is campy, but there also is some serious commentary to be had there. And I feel like it's campy because of the time it was created. But 2 Unhappy Camper is ridiculously camp and over the top. It's damn near a comedy because of how the material is taken. So, slight spoilers, I'm not going to get into what the whole story is about. But in the first movie, Angie is the killer behind everything, and she gets caught and taken away. But in this film, she somehow escapes and goes through a full transition. So she's now a teenage girl who nobody can recognize. And she goes back to the same camp as the original and just starts murking people off. And it's pretty much like anyone who is a bad person or engaging in bad behavior, she murks off because she's just this happy-go-lucky camper that only wants good to be done. And I love it because of the way it's handled. Like, when the kills happen, they're almost so over the top in an unbelievable way that you're like, is this really happening, or is this like some type of dream sequence? Because it never really makes it clear how sadistic in nature it is. Like, she might cut somebody with a chainsaw, but it's not shot or framed in a way that seems violent or brutal. She's just doing it, and she might look away as blood splatters, and when she's done, she'll, like, you know, dust her hands off like, job well done. It's one of the most like 80s style summer camp films that you can watch. It has the teens doing drugs, having premarital sex, terrible dialogue, pretty much the standard of what you associate with an 80s summer camp movie. This is that, but pushed to ridiculous levels of camp, man. And if I saw right, it's on Tubi. I just watched it, as a matter of fact. I can't remember if it's Prime or Tubi. And if you're in the mood for a very unserious camp slasher to put you in the mood, that is definitely one to check out. So, first film is Sleepaway Camp 2, Unhappy Campers. Now we're taking a really big leap into the 2010s with my next choice, and that is Final Girls. Now, this movie got a little bit more shine upon the release of Totally Killer because a lot of people were referencing Final Girls with that movie. And Final Girls released in 2015. And this, again, is another one that's on one of the streaming services like Tubi or Prime. And you can watch it now. But the premise is this teenage girl's mom used to be a final girl in this horror film back in the 80s. And here we are in the 2010s, and they're doing like an anniversary of the movie. And the teenage girl and her mom are actually driving to the anniversary, and they get in a car accident causing the mom to pass away, which is pretty damn tragic. So a year later, they have the anniversary again to not only celebrate the movie, but celebrate the teenager's mom. And the teenager daughter decides to go. And when she gets there, she's pulled into the movie that her mom was starring in the 80s, and now she's part of this summer camp slasher and must escape and all of that. And with that, she's met with different emotions seeing her mom again because, of course, she passed in the real world. And I think that this movie is phenomenal. It captures the campiness that you would expect in an 80s film, but what makes it more fun is because you have her and some of her friends who get thrown into the film. It's this clashing of 80s dialogue and thought processes with people from modern day time, and it makes for a really good watch. And it's hella meta because it kind of feels like a combination of Scream within a summer camp film, because they poke fun at a lot of tropes when it comes to these movies. and it's well made. And it's also PG-13, which is wild because I didn't know it was PG-13 until I bought the movie in recent years and saw that. I was like, dang, it definitely feels like it's R-rated, but really, there's nothing really crazy in the film as far as violence or cursing at all. It just puts you in that mindset because it is a slasher film. And everything about the movie, again, it's stereotypical, but it's the balance of the new characters within the movie that really make it great. And even the killer design looks pretty damn cool. He has this weird looking mask and he walks around with a machete. He's really Jason-like in a lot of ways, but still, I had a lot of fun with it. It's violent though, you know, it's not really gory. It's funny as hell because the 80s characters are really hamming it up. And I believe Adam Devine is a character in there. And if you know who that is, he takes it there. And this is a must watch for me every year since I stumbled across this movie. So if you're interested in a modern summer camp film that also pokes fun at all of the tropes when it comes to summer camp slashers, definitely give Final Girls a watch because it is really great. The next film on my list that came out the same year is called simply Summer Camp. This is another film that I stumbled across randomly scrolling on Tubi back in the day, and it takes place over in Argentina, I believe. If I got that wrong, excuse me. It is a Spanish town, and this group of counselors go to the summer camp early to open it up for the kids to come through, and some type of toxin leaks into the area, and whoever ingests it turns into this super rage-driven, angry type of being that's similar to 28 Days Later mixed with The Crazies, the remake. It's like the person is animalistic as hell, but they still have like control over what they're doing. So it's actually very intense. I was really taken aback when I saw this movie because it starts so calmly, but when the shit hits the fan, it hits the fan. So this is like an infection summer camp movie, and I don't think I've seen that anywhere else besides this film. And it does embrace camp with one character, but again, this one takes itself pretty seriously, not overly seriously to the point where it feels depressing, nothing crazy like that, but it's just a fun modern day flip on the idea of a summer camp attack, because when we hear summer camp, we always think about slashers, but this one flips things on its head by throwing an infection into the equation. And the thing they do with the infection is pretty damn cool. Not gonna say what it is, but it's not flat out what you think it is in a way it presents itself. It keeps things very interesting, and once you learn that, it adds to the tension even more. So this is a film that I love and definitely worth a watch if you like summer camp horror films. It's on Tubi right now. Give it a watch if you're interested. Now the next movie on the list jumps up a few years to 2018, and I believe this might be a sci-fi original that I caught on TV when I had cable, and it's called You Might Be the Killer. And yet again, this is another really cleverly written meta summer camp slasher film. So these counselors go to a summer camp, and of course they're setting up before the kids get here when one of them finds a mask buried in the dirt. And when they pick it up, the mask calls to them to put it on. And when the character puts it on, they turn into a slasher and they're going after everybody who's on campgrounds. And the cool thing about it is the main character has a friend who is played by, I forgot what her name is, but the girl on American Pie with the red hair, she's like a horror enthusiast. So this entire time, he's calling her, talking to her, asking what he should do to stop the curse. And it's just a really good back and forth ping pong with things and a very interesting spin on the slasher genre. And throughout the movie, other characters get the mask and other characters learn about things, and it's just a really fun ride because it does embrace the camp all the way. Like somebody may put the mask on, kill somebody, then the mask comes off and they're just like, what the hell happened? And everyone's scared of that person. And like I said, dude is getting pointers from his friend about how slashers work. It's just a really clever and fun time, especially if you're into summer camp films. And I've seen a lot of them. It preys on the idea of the viewer being into these movies because it tackles the tropes and pokes fun at them similarly to how Final Girls does. Oh yeah, and the lead is the same guy who was smoking weed in the Cabin in the Woods. And if you've seen how he portrays things, he makes the movie fun itself with his personality. So that's definitely another must watch for me that I love to watch every year around this time. So if that sounds interesting to you, definitely go ahead and get out a watch, and that's called You Might Be the Killer. Now jumping up to 2023, this is a film that's also on Tubi, and it's called She Came from the Woods. And this film just got recently released on Vinegar Syndrome with a custom slipcase, and I copped it. If you follow my physical media vlogs, you know what I'm talking about. But this film takes place back in the 80s, And when these camp counselors go to this campground, they stupidly do a ritual that revives a witch who comes back and just wreaks havoc on the entire campground, controlling kids, turning them into killers and all kind of stuff. And again, this movie's very campy, as you will see with a lot of summer camp films. And I like it because it does give a spin on what summer camp horror films are, because again, typically they're slasher films, but this here goes a little bit more paranormal with the fact that this witch does paranormal things. She controls people and even has some slasher bits in there, because when the kids go crazy, it gets real slasher-like, and it's shot well and really fun, especially because most of the movie takes place at night, which a lot of them tend to do. But there's something about this movie that the nighttime really plays a big part in what's going on. And almost all the characters are assholes, so you really don't care who dies and who lives. So when some people get it, you're like, yeah, you deserve it. Especially one dude who gets a very gruesome death. It's like, finally, when he does die. And I think the design of the witch is also cool, and the things that she does are very cool. And I love the lore that builds in this film, and I'm a huge fan of new movies being able to create their own lore, because my mind just goes down the rabbit hole of like, wow, this did this, that did that, how is this going to affect certain people? And you get answers to some of that, and there's just enough to make the movie work, and lacking just enough to make your mind and imagination go on a run. And I love it. And if that sounds interesting to you, go ahead and get on Tubi, watch it, and have a good time. Because if you're into campy summer camp movies, I don't see how you couldn't like this one. So, She Came from the Woods, give it a watch. And the last movie on this list just released last year, and it's called Marshmallow. This film follows a bunch of kids who are on campgrounds, and there's this rumored ghost supposedly walking around with a spotlight that all of the kids know about. And when they go searching for him, they definitely find him. And when they tell the counselors about this dude, they don't pay any attention. And there's a reason for that. I'm not going to say what that is, because it's a really big reveal at the end of the film that makes your jaw drop when it happens. I remember watching it last year and I was like... And this one's at kind of a different speed because it's not really campy. It does take itself very seriously. Though there are spurts of humor with the young boys, because, you know, young boys talk how they talk and say a bunch of inappropriate things. So you do get it in that format. But for the most part, it is rather serious. And I like it because of that. So that's all I'm going to say about that one, because I can't speak on it anymore without spoiling it. But go ahead and watch Marshmallow. I believe it is on one of the free streaming networks like Tubi or Prime. You know, Prime's not free, but I feel like everybody has Prime because we all order stuff over Amazon and that just comes with it. But you should be able to find it. It's called Marshmallow. And when you see the poster art, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. So if that does sound interesting and you're looking for a mysterious, whodunit, hidden twist type of slasher film, give it a watch. So those are all of my suggestions for some summer camp movies that I find to be underrated and also unaware of, because I don't see many people talking about it, any of these for real. So I figured I would let y'all know because I know. So let me know in the comments if you've seen any of those movies, and let me know also when you go watch those movies, come back here and tell me what you thought about each one. I'm very interested to see what folks who are into this subgenre of horror feel about these movies. And of course, if you like this kind of content, make sure you like, subscribe, and if you already are subscribed, thank you. And until next time, peace. And stay cool out there.
RapNerd Productions, no capping, that's word to mommy. Instead of banking on it, now rapping is just a hobby.